Someone is asking about flag theory. This is unusual. I normally get this in other live streams, not in the US Singapore one. So I'm aware that flag theory is the name of a legal entity in Singapore and in Malaysia, but it's also the name of an actual theory. It was coined by a guy called Harry Schultz back in, I think it's the 50s or 60s. He was politically minded libertarian, and he advocated what he called three flag theories, which was over time, I think by the 80s, refined into five flags. So the five flags would be, well, where you are a citizen, for him, it will be the United States, would not be where he's resident. He's resident outside of the US, and he will bank in another jurisdiction. His company will be in another jurisdiction, and he would entertain himself in another jurisdiction. Five flags. Some people who are into crypto, they advocate 6 or 7 flags, but essentially, I don't think it's meant to be dogmatic or prescriptive. It's the idea of having an internationally diversified lifestyle. And some of our clients come from certain minority religious groups or ethnic groups that historically may have had a hard time in their country of origin or where their grandparents or their parents came from. So again, there's this idea that you don't have all your eggs in one basket, because if things go funny in the jurisdiction in which you have most of your wealth, you're completely exposed, right? So it's essentially the idea of having a diversified lifestyle. Now that has come to take a different shape now that we're in this new normal, this post-health crisis reality. And with the lockdowns and reopenings and whatever, many people have found it, those who have the ability to work remotely or to manage their businesses from a remote location, they found it quite convenient. So, for example, there are neighborhoods, it was reported in the New York Times, there are neighborhoods in New York when things really kicked off in the middle of 2020, some neighborhoods, like 40% of the neighbors just moved out in some of the higher income neighborhoods. Why? Because they had a plan B. They moved, upstate or one of the neighboring states as far down as Florida, or to Martha's Vineyard, or one of the more rural settings where they'll have more space and whatever, when things were getting pretty intense in New York. And, similarly in Singapore, we've seen some of our clients who have that plan B able to, pick up, and we have clients that have moved to Bali to manage their situation in Singapore from Bali. Many have returned to the US. Some have moved to parts of Europe where they have more space and whatever the unique situation would be. So it may be worth the original, putting aside what the original prescription behind flag theory may have been, it may be worth considering having a plan B. And for those who need to travel for work, when borders were closed, of course, it has become quite difficult. In some instances, however, it is helpful if you are a resident of that jurisdiction. In some cases, it won't help. In some cases, even citizens won't allowed to travel in and out. But in some jurisdictions, it did help. Non-essential travel was blocked, but essential travel, which would include returning to your home, was being allowed. So for those people who had to make business trips, it was helpful that they were a legal resident of that jurisdiction they're trying to get into. So again, stepping back, I'd say it is, in its original form, it may not be relevant today, but the principle or the spirit behind it, the idea of being diversified and having a plan B, I think it is quite important. And especially in this new normal, I think it's worth having, different residencies just in case you may want to move to somewhere that's more comfortable because of, cases increasing wherever you are. So yeah, hope that helps.
Please subscribe, like, share, and comment below. Our books and upcoming events are available at htj.tax. Email us at help@htj.tax to engage us, to advise on international tax or business matters.